Yo, what's up? Welcome to my channel mga kapatid, Reaction TV official mga kapatid, ano? So yun, ito po yung part 2 ng the 20th craziest The 20 crazy ways to migrants try to sneak into the country. Ayun, no. Ito yung dugtong doon mga kapatid, ito yung part 2, hinati ko lang sa dalawa para lang mas maganda kasi pag dalawang video para para maging dalawang video ko, di ba? Kasi nga naghahabol ako ng mga video. Ano yun? So yun, panoorin natin, wag na natin ito patagalin. Continue na natin to. Di ba mga kapatid, continue natin ito. Huwag natin patagalin. Yun, number 12 na tayo mga kapatid. Let's go. Pasok, Pines.
12. A landing gear.
Whoa!
Some people can be so desperate
Landing
to leave their
gear?
home countries in search
Ang
of a
hirap
better
nun,
life that they'll risk death.
Pwede ka
A
mamatay dyan.
26-year-old man from Guatemala tucked himself away in the landing gear of an American Airlines plane bound for Miami
Paano
and
siya?
survived the journey. The man remained trapped inside the landing gear for the entire 2.5-hour flight, where he
Holy
would have
cow.
encountered temperatures as low as negative 54 degrees Fahrenheit and oxygen levels of 6.3%. It would have also been quite a fall if he had slipped out of the landing gear, since the average plane cruises at altitudes of 30,000 to 42,000 feet. A video was uploaded to social media once the plane touched down, showing the man sitting on the tarmac in jeans, a jacket, and boots, while ground crew personnel gave him water. He was taken
Pwede
to
siya mamatay
Jackson
dun
Memorial
eh.
Hospital and
Pero
looked
ang
to
gawin,
have
nakasurvive siya
frostbite
dun,
on
ha?
his fingers. He would likely be sent back to his home country once he was given a clean bill of health. The man's risky journey isn't the first like it, nor will it probably be the last. At least
Grabe.
129 people have tried to stow away in the wheel wells of commercial aircraft since the late 1940s, and at least 100 of them have died from exposure or injuries.
Well,
Not only
pwede ka
do they
mamatay
face
talaga dyan,
bitterly
delikado
cold
yan.
temperatures and low oxygen, but they also risk being crushed to death when the plane touches down. This man was lucky, even if he survived the journey, just to be sent back home. Number 11. Hidden in a suitcase. Traveling with a
Grabe
suitcase
naman
is
yun.
pretty standard, so why would you be nervous? Well, you might be if you didn't have clothing in that suitcase. Instead, you have a 19-year-old immigrant from Gabon. In 2017, Civil Guard officers from Spain arrested a 22-year-old Moroccan woman for attempting to enter the exclave of Ceuta in
Grabe,
Spanish
ang
North
daming
Africa
ano.
with the man inside her suitcase. The
Ay,
arrest was
puta.
made at the Terra Hal border crossing when police officers saw the woman with the luggage cart and thought she was expressing nerve.
Kung nasa suitcase ka, paano ka makakagalaw? Nakabaltot yung paa mo sa ilang oras. Hindi ka na makakagalaw nun. Pwede kang Grabe. Yung mga ganun ka lang, gusto mo lang iunod yung paa mo eh. Paano pa kaya ganun, ano? Hindi ko ma-imagine yung hirap nun, nasa suitcase. Grabe, napakahirap nung kalagayan nito. Ito nasa suitcase, tsaka yung nasa aeroplano kanina. Grabe.
Once she did, the young man tucked away inside was revealed. There were concerns about him experiencing an oxygen shortage in the suitcase, so he was treated by medics. You can't help
Kasi
but
walang
feel sad for
oxygen
him,
dyan eh.
though. Sure, the woman was arrested on immigration-related charges, but the real victim is the person trying to leave sub-Saharan Africa in search of a better life in Spain. He isn't the first person to try to leave his home country bound for
Papuntang
Spain.
Spain
In
naman ito.
2014, 15 immigrants drowned while attempting to swim around the Terra Hal border to reach Spanish soil. According to reports, 16 Civil Guard officers were arrested as they had fired rubber bullets in their direction. The charges were later dropped. Number 10.
Grabe, ano?
Hidden in waste containers. Some people can be so desperate to live a better life in a new country that they would risk death in waste containers to make it happen. In February 2021, Spanish Guardia civil officers found 41 people trying to enter Europe from the port of Melilla in North Africa. They were tucked away in trucks, lorries, and containers, waiting to be loaded onto ships that were headed for the mainland. During their
So, paano
initial
nila
searches,
na-detect?
they found
May
35
nag-tip
people
din,
trying
na
to
may tao
cross,
doon sa
but
loob.
a more detailed
Diyos, ano na
second
yan?
search uncovered 5 more
Hindi sa
people
bagay sa,
who concealed
sa ano kasi sa
themselves
border,
in
meron silang
incredibly dangerous
pinang-detect na may
places. 4 of them
human
were in
na
a container full of broken glass
human hit,
bottles that
yung
were
parang
headed for a
mais,
recycling
sabi ng
plant. They
kulay
would have been
pula.
putting themselves at
Hindi
significant
ko lang
risk,
ang tawag.
surrounded by
Tayo
sharp
siya,
glass
no?
shards on a 7-hour
Abrisyon na
journey.
lang.
But the most horrendous find was a man inside a sealed plastic bag filled with fly ash. Fly ash is produced at coal-fired power stations. Exposure to it can put you at risk of severe lung conditions. One of the Guardia civil officers saw a motionless human leg and requested urgent help because the person appeared dead. Fortunately, he was alive when they dug him out. Number 9. Inside a car seat.
Holy
Sadly,
cow.
43.7% of people in Guinea
Grabe,
live below
ano?
the poverty line, which equals around 5.8 million people. That's a lot of people, often going without the necessities of life. Can you really blame them for trying to leave the country in search of a better life elsewhere? One man's desperate attempt to leave Guinea didn't work, but you have to give him points for creativity. A 20-year-old man was trying to get through the Beni Enzar crossing to Melilla through Morocco by stowing himself away inside the passenger seat of a Renault vehicle. The entire seat's interior had been carved out, leaving the frame for the man to hide inside with the seat cover placed over the top. He was caught, and officers had to help him get out of the sea. Two Moroccan men assisting him on his journey, aged 21 and 23, were arrested and accused of people smuggling. Number 8.
Number
Jumping
8.
on lorries.
Jumping on lorries. Wow.
Truck drivers in the port city of Calais in France probably felt quite nervous at border checks in 2015. And not because they had done anything intentionally wrong. It's because media helicopters captured footage of migrants attempting to hitch rides in the cargo areas of trucks to enter the United Kingdom illegally. Some were brazenly even hopping into the cars of everyday commuters. Now, you might be wondering how on earth migrants could run fast enough to catch up to trucks traveling down highways. But French strike action has made it possible. The trucks had been forced to
Galing
stop
din nila
and line
pumasok.
up outside the port due to the strike.
Tao nga
Ships
naman
were
gagawin na
allowed
lahat para
to
lang
leave
ano, no?
or enter the port. The slowing down of trucks meant immigrants had ample opportunity to tuck
Paano
themselves
nila
safely
napasok
inside,
yan?
often
Nabuksan.
without truck drivers even knowing what was happening. Media helicopter footage showed trucks creeping along highways with groups of immigrants running after them, opening the rear doors and helping each other into the trucks. It was a chaotic situation, and it's unknown whether any of those migrants even made it successfully into the United Kingdom. Number
Pero
7.
meron din kaya nakakapasok siguro, no?
Into a pickup truck.
Wow.
How many people can fit inside your pickup truck comfortably? 4, maybe 5 at a push? Well, we said comfortably, but how many people do you think could fit inside the average pickup truck uncomfortably?
Oh.
Well, at least 20, as Brooks County Sheriff's
Grabe,
Department
ang dami,
deputies
oh.
found out. The Texas police had conducted a traffic stop on a
Whoa,
white Ford pickup
dami
truck.
nila, oh.
After running the license plates, they learned that the truck had been stolen. When the police learned this, the vehicle took off and drove into oncoming traffic in an attempt to escape the police. They crossed the highway, parked in some grass near Encino in Brooks
Dami,
County,
oh.
Texas, and multiple people quickly got out of the truck and ran in all directions. The entire situation was caught on camera, and it was incredible. Not only did heaps of people
Actual,
file out of the
videos
cabin
over
of the
there, no?
truck, but just as many people leaped out of the deck. They had been covered up under a sheet of plywood. Deputies believe at least 20 migrants piled out of that truck about 70 miles from the Texas-Mexico border.
Grabe.
Number
no?
6. In the back of a van. While
Back
it's
of the
unknown
van?
whether they were actually immigrants or just people traveling in a dangerous and uncomfortable way, it sure didn't look great when a bunch of men in the
Grabe
back
yun,
of a
ah.
van were thrown together as the vehicle encountered rough terrain. At first, the men appeared to find the situation funny as they were pushed into one another, but the situation became a lot more uncomfortable when some ended up falling over, unable to get back up. Someone was filming from in front of the caged area, and the men were laughing as they tumbled around.
Oh.
The video was
Oh.
uploaded to YouTube by the user LCFC Dawson with the title Immigrants Sneaking Into Country Experienced Bumpy Ride. There are no details surrounding who they were, where they were going, or how they were traveling, but it sure doesn't look safe. Where are their seatbelts? Number
Grabe.
5. Hidden in vehicles.
Hidden in vehicle. Paano
The
yan?
Bridge of the Americas is a port of entry in El Paso, Texas. All vehicles undergo inspections to ensure they aren't carrying anything they shouldn't be, like drugs or illegal immigrants. This port of entry is among the busiest, with 30,000 vehicles traveling through it daily. It's also open 24/7. According to the media, there has been an uptick in people trying to smuggle other people across the border hidden in their vehicles in creative ways. At the Rio Grande Valley checkpoint, 2 people were crammed inside speakers. Almost 40 people were also found locked inside a cargo truck. Now, you might
Grabe,
think
ano?
that you can get away with smuggling things and people you shouldn't due to how busy the crossing point is, but the Customs and Border Protection workers are incredibly thorough. They also use dogs that are trained to detect drugs and humans. They can
Yeah.
even detect people in the car who should be there
Nakang-detect
and
talaga
those who
sila dyan, eh.
shouldn't be. For example, the dogs know that people can sit in the cabin of the vehicle, but they will alert their handlers if they notice a human scent somewhere unusual, such as the trunk. There's concern that with rising temperatures over the summer months, there will be a rise
Kaya
in
dapat yung
dangers,
mga
especially when people tuck themselves
dapat
into
matakot
vehicle
na kayo
nooks
kasi
and crannies with
mabubuking
very
kayo
little
eh.
room to move.
Maamoy kayo ng aso eh.
Smuggled in a truck.
In a truck.
It was quite an unusual sight for a truck driver who watched as several people exited what looked to be a type of tanker truck that might usually carry liquids
my
or
goodness.
potentially powder. This time, rather than carrying materials, it was carrying humans, and quite a huge number of them. They appeared to be covered in some kind of white substance, but they were in good spirits as they climbed out of the top of the vehicle and down a ladder. Now, you can't tell from the video whether they had been caught by the authorities or were in a safe area to get out, but they appeared to enjoy their freedom from being stuck inside that vehicle for probably quite a long time. The footage seemed to come from a Facebook group called Turkey Transportular Platform, which translates to Turkey Transporters Platform. It's possible that a member of that group encountered this situation, filmed it, and posted the footage online for other truck drivers to see. The outcome of those migrants is unknown. Number 3. Trapped in a toolbox.
Oh.
When you hear of so many people
Mahirap
getting
naman to,
caught at
toolbox
borders
na naman
in
to.
the most genius
Parang ang
hiding places, you
hihirap
start
naman.
to wonder whether it's even
Grabe.
possible not to get caught. Well, it can be. 3
Ah,
migrants
anggal.
were locked in a metal toolbox within a smuggler's truck and had initially made it through checkpoints before finally being found at a
Grabe.
checkpoint near El Paso, Texas. Fortunately for them, they made it out of the toolbox alive, which might not have been the case if they had been in there much longer. The discovery came just days after 50 migrants were found dead in a tractor-trailer unit. According to journalists, access to the toolbox was only possible with bolt cutters, and canine teams were called upon to inspect the truck for drugs and illegal immigrants.
Wala
Sometimes
silang
X-ray
ligtas
machines
kasi
are
dyan
also
dahil
used as a
may
secondary
may
These men made it out alive,
Excuse
but
me,
so
excuse
many
me, Bo!
people aren't as lucky. Over 530
Merong sniffing dog eh,
deaths in
maaamoy kahit
2021
maamoy
due to
eh.
the elements and drowning.
May na-train na aso para dyan. Maamoy ka, maamoy ang tao, hindi. May drugs, tao.
Number 2.
Grabe.
Locked in an 18-wheeler.
Wow.
How bad must your home country really be to endure skyrocketing temperatures in the back of an 18-wheeler tractor-trailer unit in an attempt to get to a new country? In 2015, a sheriff's department was called to a truck stop near San Antonio where over 30 people were packed inside a sweltering hot 18-wheeler truck. They had entered the country illegally. One by one, the people exited the truck, most of which were shirtless to try and cool themselves down. Fortunately, they appeared to have water, but that wouldn't have sustained them forever. When the immigrants were freed from the trailer, they were allowed to rest on the dirt and cool themselves down. However, it's likely that they would be sent back to their home country. How they managed to survive those sweltering hot conditions is incredible, especially since San Antonio can experience some horrendous temperatures.
Grabe.
Most days from April to October are above 60 degrees Fahrenheit, and most days in summer are at least 79 degrees. Even nights aren't cool, with temperatures remaining above 69 degrees. Nice. There are also at least 18 days of the year when temperatures in San Antonio reach 100 degrees. Number 1. Behind dashboard and in car trunk.
Mas malumit to sa may
Border
ano.
workers are
Paano
constantly
siya
on the
nagkasya
lookout
doon?
for vehicle abnormalities.
Ang
If
lupit to, no?
interiors look tampered with in any way, they typically have reason to
Pwede
believe
kang mamatay
there's
dyan eh.
something or someone hiding somewhere they shouldn't be in an attempt to enter
Babaeng
the country
sapay,
illegally.
okay.
Somehow,
Sabahan na
it
dito
became
eh.
apparent to border workers that people were hiding in this very ordinary-looking car. They might
Hmm.
have relied on canine teams to alert them to the scent of people,
Talagang-
or they used heartbeat detectors
Kung hindi sa
or
aso, hindi
X-ray
makikita yan
equipment. Whatever they used, they discovered people where they really shouldn't be, behind the dashboard and hidden in the car trunk. Someone had managed to tuck themselves away quite neatly behind the dash, with the only entry point through the engine bay. That would have been horrifically uncomfortable. They also had to cut out the foam from behind the rear seat to create a small nook between the rear seat and the trunk for someone to hide in. Border workers found this person, too. That hiding spot wouldn't have been too uncomfortable, but could you imagine traveling for hours so close to the engine in the summer heat? That's enough to kill even the healthiest person.
Pwede kang mamatay talaga dyan.
Sure know how to get creative
Grabe,
when it
ano?
counts. Think of how uncomfortable it would be to hide in
Hindi mo rin kasi
waste
masisisi yung
just
mga
for a
taong
chance
ito
at a
kasi
better
talagang
life. Can you think
gusto
of
nilang
other
makarating sa
inventive ways
ibang
people
bansa para
immigrated to
mabago din
another
ang buhay
country?
nila, no?
Also, check out
Pero
our
talagang
other cool stuff
talagang
showing up on
napakahirap, ano? Hindi basta-basta 'yon, mga ano nilang yun, ano, mga nangyayari sa kanila. So, parang hindi nga talaga maganda. So, yun, pinili nila yung gano'n, o di mas mahirap pa sa kanila yun. Pwede silang mamatay, pwede silang ma-disgrasya or something. No? Tsaka 100% mahuli sila eh. Pero meron kaya mga nakalusot din kaya. Hindi natin nakikita eh. Maghahat tayo ng mga gano'n para panoorin din natin sabay-sabay mga kapatid. Kung meron ding mga nakakalusot, ano, yung talagang hindi na detect, ano. Meron kaya mga ganun siguro. Meron din siguro, no? Hindi naman lahat nahuhuli siguro yan eh. So yun mga kapatid. Tapos na tayo sa ating video mga kapatid. Ano? See you on next week again mga kapatid. At huwag niyo pong kalimutan mag-like sa aking mga video, subscribe, and share sa mga social media nyo yung ating mga videos ano, mga kapatid. Sa para lalo tayong dumami magkakapatid. Ano? So yun, hanggang dito na lamang mga kapatid. At see you on next week on Sunday. So hanggang sa muli, see you. Bye-bye.